been.
From the campus of Syracuse University, this is Newhouse Afternoon.
Love it. Welcome to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7 and on Twitch at QSportsTalk.com. My name is Cedric Derecho, and I'm here with Teddy Caputo and Brooke Kilgore. Teddy and Brooke, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. You're a little dressed for cold weather. Good to see it.
Yeah, no, I'm rocking the festive look. I've been wearing the scarf all week trying to see how it looks and how I feel, and I'm feeling pretty good. So, Cedric, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I mean, obviously, the biggest story of the week here, Syracuse's largest win in 2 decades.
Yeah.
They're finally ranked 22nd in the country in the CFP, 23rd by the AP poll. How are we feeling about Syracuse football right now?
Well, feeling really good, and, you know, Fran Brown, he got washed after that game, which is great. I would have loved to storm the field when I was there, but unfortunately didn't get the chance. But just a great atmosphere, especially coming back from 21 down in that second quarter. Just all around great game. So happy for our team.
Tell you what, I'll ask you guys this question. Did you ever lose faith? Because I never did, even at 21-0.
I mean, deficits are kind of Syracuse's specialty. This was the largest comeback in program history, being down 21-0.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about this, a couple weeks ago, where Syracuse is just not a first quarter team.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing really well. Kyle McCord, 70% in that first quarter. And it's just, it's frustrating as a fan to sit there and watch your team give up 21 points straight. But then, you've got the fumble recovery. You've got all of this amazing stuff happening in the third quarter. And it always blows my mind that this team loves to come back. They like to go into the locker room, take a breath, and then they'll come back out storming. So I've been noticing that, definitely.
I mean, I'll say this. I have great respect for security, but they're out of their minds if they thought they could prevent the fans from storming the field. I mean, this is my first year up in Syracuse, and to give a little bit of context, I went to Rutgers for my undergrad for 4 years, and Rutgers football, respect to Greg Schiano, but they never had a win in my 4 years that are big enough that was storming the field worthy. And so when we beat 6th-ranked Miami, I was storming the field, and a couple of us had to sneak into the suites and jump to the lower levels to do it. So that's what we did. Security tried to block us off.
Well, they lowered the goalposts knowing that was a real possibility. So I think
where are we going to take it out of the dome? There's nowhere to put it.
Yeah, no, but they kind of anticipated it. And I know, to answer your question, I never lost faith because I just knew that as long as we could get some stops on defense, Miami has not been stopping teams on their side of the ball defensively, and our offense has been the strong suit. Mm-hmm. We got gypped with that one touchdown, but we made some big stops, and I never lost faith. I had a feeling that it was our game from the start.
So I have a question for you both. I was home for the weekend, and we were talking a little bit about ASU storming the field with BYU because I have some family that goes to Arizona State, and, that wasn't that big of a ranking deficit where, it was a bit of an upset, but I personally felt like it wasn't a reason to really storm the field, especially with that 1 second left on the clock. I've got family claiming that, it was over, the game was over, everyone was saying it was over, but there was still that 1 second.
Yeah.
Do you guys think, what's your opinion on storming the field? what kind of ranking deficit does it take, and then what kind of comeback? Definitely I feel like this one was allowed, but in your guys' opinion, what is qualified to storm the field?
For me, if you beat a top 10 team in the country and you're outside the top 25, that's worthy of storming the field.
Yes.
Even if you are in the top 25 but you're more than a 10-point underdog, and it's a game with big stakes like it was for Miami. Miami needed this win to secure a spot in the ACC championship, lock up a spot in the CFP. It looks like they're out of it now. Syracuse played the ultimate role of spoiler.
Yeah.
I think that's storming the field worthy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think games that have some sort of significance, whether it's a team that is a severe underdog versus a team that's in the top 10, top 5, that's definitely storming the field worthy. But two unranked teams that really don't have huge postseason hopes, maybe they're in bowl games, but they're not competing for the playoff, that just seems kind of pointless. And I think it's really an experience for the fans at that point. But yeah, I don't know. That seems a little cheesy to me. For us, again, that was a huge win in their program's history, probably the biggest win within the last 10 to 15 years. So definitely storming the field worthy.
Definitely, and I agree. I mean, I was working, the Syracuse-Miami basketball game last year when Quadir Copeland hits that, buzzer beater. Everyone's celebrating, storming the court, and people have their opinions on it, but I thought that was definitely a storm the court worthy moment. And then, of course, that Miami game. So I'm really glad, Cedric, that you got to go out there and storm and cheer the fans on and celebrate with the football team. I'm glad that was such a great game.
That's great, Cedric. It is great that you got that. I was so upset, so close. But the big thing about it is, like you had mentioned, we spoiled Miami's anybody's chances, because now in the ACC championship game, it's SMU versus Clemson when it should have been SMU versus Miami. So let's look at the playoff picture. Let's look at the predictions and what we see happening. So the Big Ten championship game is Oregon versus Penn State. The SEC championship game is Texas versus Georgia. I mentioned the ACC already. The Big 12 is Arizona State at 15 and Iowa State at 16 in the rankings. And then the non-power conference school that has playoff implications is ranked 10th ranked Boise State versus 20th ranked UNLV. So what are you guys thinking? Who are you guys thinking are going to win those games?
Something I want to point out before we get into this discussion is a lot of people are upset that UNLV is ranked higher than Syracuse, considering Syracuse took them down in Las Vegas earlier in the season. So I'm curious to see, a lot of people were upset. We should be ranked higher. We should be playing in a bigger game like that. But, Cedric, how are you feeling regarding that?
You know what? Let me just say this with the Big Ten, going to the Big Ten championship game, because I want to talk about that first. Whoever had Oregon finishing at number 1 in the country, kudos to you, because I certainly did not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Oregon is outperforming themselves this year, especially first year in the Big Ten as well. So to answer your question, though, I think if we didn't have as bad of a loss against like Stanford, then we definitely should deserve to be ranked higher. But losses to them and also Boston College don't help. The loss to Pitt was not helpful either, especially since they slid. Like they were undefeated, and then they lost pretty much the next 5 games after beating us. So that, I think, is the only reason why they're not ranked higher than UNLV.
That's a good point. Yeah, and to come back to your Oregon point, it was really devastating watching. My parents are University of Washington alumni, so you get to see the Oregon Ducks kind of beat up on them when that was kind of our thing for the past couple of years. But ESPN is predicting Penn State over Oregon by 3.7%. So it's probably going to be a bit of a close game. People are still definitely tied. They're both going to make the playoffs regardless of a win or loss. However, the winner will get an automatic berth to the second round of the playoffs. So it's definitely, you don't want to keep your guys playing multiple weeks if you can try and avoid it. Oregon's been very, aggressive on offense, especially after losing Bo Nix last year. It's going to be a very interesting game to see, especially in Penn State had that one loss to Ohio State by 1 score, though, in October. So both these teams I believe are definitely going to come out to compete.
Well, I know people have a lot of problems with the rankings. The fact that Ohio State is still top 6 team in the country after losing to Michigan as 23-point favorites or something along those lines. And then the fact that Miami is at outside the top 12 while Alabama is at 11. Is that some SEC bias there?
Yeah, definitely agree. Can we also talk about
SEC bias?
Yes, definitely. Coming back to that Ohio State game, though, Will Howard did not play very well against Michigan, and that was the whole reason why people turned against Kyle McCord last year when he threw those interceptions against Michigan. It's great. Is it the Michigan effect? I don't know. Why is Ohio State performing badly against Michigan, I would say?
Urban Meyer had, I think, nearly an undefeated record against Michigan in his time there, and Ryan Day's 1-4, I believe, in his time there. So, I think it's the Ryan Day effect, if anything, because they've had success against Michigan in the past. But ever since Ryan Day's been there, I don't know. He just does not have good luck against Michigan.
It's not the Harbaugh effect anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely not.
And talk about storming the field. That was definitely a crazy bit of an experience. I believe the ACC or even the NCAA is pushing to move away from planting flags or planting, your school's gear on the center of the field if you win in an away game. I think they're trying to move away from that just because of the whole macing incident that did happen on that field. Yeah,
no, most definitely. So just to get back to the games, I think personally Oregon's doing very well this year. I think they're going to win the Big Ten. Texas, that's going to be a big game against Georgia. I think they're going to get redemption against Georgia. I really think SMU, this is their year in the ACC. I have them favored over Clemson. And then in Big 12, I think Arizona State is just having a much better run at the end of the year right now. They've won, from what I've seen, 5 or 6 straight games.
Yes.
They're really on a roll. They've beaten 2 ranked opponents in the top 20 in that stretch and then beat Arizona by 42. So I think they're the hot team going into this game. And then Boise State, I think they're going to win. So those are my 5 conference winners. And then from there, I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss and Alabama kind of sneak their way in, and Miami kind of gets left out. I think there is a lot of SEC bias, so I think those teams, maybe South Carolina edges out Miami as well. So I think those teams are going to get in, and Miami may be left out.
Well, how about the season Ashton Genty is having for Boise State?
Yeah.
Heisman contender. I mean, he might lose it out to Travis Hunter, but you can't take away from him. I mean, this is a team that people want to see in the CFP. And we've already seen the flaws that UNLV has in their loss to Syracuse earlier in the year.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how Ashton Genty plays in that game. I think he's going to play really well. To me, I think he is got to be the clear favorite for the Heisman. All the other running backs with comparable stats in the last 20 years have won the Heisman, and he's outpacing them by quite a bit. Travis Hunter's great, no doubt, but I think the only reason...
He's a unicorn. He's doing things that we haven't seen.
Exactly, and I think that's the main reason why he's in the conversation, because he's playing exceptional on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a really fun race to see, though, but my pick is Ashton Genty.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Syracuse Bowl predictions, because we are officially going bowling, and there are plenty of games that, Syracuse.com, even ESPN is predicting. I've got the Gator Bowl, and there's 3 possible opponents there for Syracuse: South Carolina, Missouri, or Florida, which I'm hearing Florida. I've had some consensus among my Newhouse friends out in food.com. They think Florida is probably the biggest chance. And that's also a great way for Fran Brown to prove the legitimacy of this team. If you're taking on yes, Florida has had its flaws, 7-5 overall, 4-4 in conference, but that's an SEC team. They usually tend to strike high. They're doing pretty good. They took down number 13 Ole Miss 24-17 and then ranked number 22 LSU 27-16. That's a team that you could really establish yourself. Yes, you are potentially losing Kyle McCord, but you just brought in, 33 of your 34 expected recruiting class. You can make a dent and prove, especially now that you're ranked number 22, to the rest of the college football fan base that you are legitimate now.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts on that bowl game?
What I want to see is I would rather find them. Hopefully, they could find a way to make Syracuse versus Colorado, because that would be blockbuster. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. We already know that Deion Sanders says those two are going to play.
Yeah,
that would be just blockbuster ratings, and I think it would. For me, it's the most entertaining matchup possible. I mean, that game. If that's not a shootout, I don't know what is.
There's nothing really much else for me to say, because you just read my mind. That is exactly where my mind is. I would love to see a Syracuse-Colorado game. Everybody has their eyeballs on them, and that means if we played against them, they'd have their eyeballs on us. So I'd like to see Syracuse versus Colorado as well.
If Kyle McCord is going to play in that bowl game, that is opportunity to raise his draft stock even further.
Especially against those guys whose draft stock's pretty high.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I would love to know, what are the chances that Kyle McCord does play in this game, though? He does have, a relatively good draft stock. We were talking a little bit about it yesterday when we think he might potentially go second or third round, but do we see him playing this game?
I personally think so, just because of his comments after this game against Miami, just about being part of establishing the new identity of Syracuse football, bringing back the winning ways. And what better way to do that, especially if you do get an SEC team or a team like Colorado. Like, that would just be the cherry on top, the real stamp on the season. Even though we didn't get exactly to the playoff like we wanted to, this would be just a sweet way of capping the season off, saying, I'm part of this next generation of winning Syracuse football and hopefully champion Syracuse football.
Yeah, a chance to get to double-digit wins for the first time in 6 years. After this short 4-minute break, we'll be back with NFL talk. You're listening to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7. Watch us on Twitch at QSportsTalk.com.
So
Good stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to say a little something, but
we were going. Okay, I don't have the I don't have it over here.
You sounded fine in my headset.
Oh yeah, mine is a little bit lower than the other two. How about now?
Yeah, I hear you better.
Okay.
Were we supposed to talk about the college football playoffs in B block?
No, I think we kind of jammed it into the first block.
We could circle back to it in block 4.
Yeah.
Well, have we done our 12-team bracket projection and who we think is going to finish in the national championship at all?
I think we could circle back to it.
Okay.
We can definitely
block 4.
We can definitely circle back
because NFL is going to be a long block too. We have a lot to say about the NFL.
Yeah, totally.
Can we talk about the Jets Seahawks? we can preview our upcoming game.
Yes. Oh, brother.
Yeah, I wanted to add even a little bit more, but then I saw that we were at 14 already, so I'm like, we should probably just end the block and
I think that was our
on.
strongest A block of the semester.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to talk about there. so much. But I unfortunately can't see the chat right now. I can't get onto my Twitch account, but I was wondering if anybody is sending some comments over there. Everybody, comment on the scarf. What do you think? Yeah, exactly. I think that would be great because Shedeur Sanders, he's clearly going to be playing in the next level. He's playing in the NFL. It's not an if, it's a when and a where, really. So for Kyle McCord, and that's the thing, this last game was Kyle McCord versus Cam Ward. And Kyle McCord won that quarterback duel. It'd be cool to see him win this quarterback duel against Shedeur Sanders. The question is, would it put his draft stock higher than Shedeur Sanders?
That's a good question.
We can't bring up the Jets-Seahawks game because the Jets are playing the Dolphins on Sunday. I'm going to be so annoying about that. I apologize in advance. If my family's listening, I'm very jealous that you're going to the Cardinals-Seahawks game. So I'm very hurt that I was not invited to that. They were not going to fly me home just to see them play in State Farm Stadium. All right. Be like that.
That was a heartbreaking game. The one last week. Cardinals.
I know I was on a plane and I get off and I'm like, what happened?
Right.
Everyone was like, Kyler Murray's gonna like absolutely throw 400 yards, like 5 touchdowns. The Seahawks are smoke. There's no defense. Gone.
Yeah, that was very, very bad of a game. I was, But Cedric, you're flying high, bro. Those Eagles, dude. 8 straight. We'll be talking about that.
I mean, like I said, I would have continued that college one if I could. It's just that we were already at 11-14, so it's probably...
This is a good thing because if you're worried about the basketball D segment, this means we're just going to take time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but if we have time, we'll definitely circle back to the bracket. That would honestly be a great way to end the show on CFP bracket,
Bring it full circle.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when I looked at the mic, I'm like, I was literally half of the level that you guys were at. I don't know how we didn't catch that before the show started, but...
Yeah, I know why we lost that game against the Seahawks. There's 2 reasons.
Well, although the Seahawks, you're going to let the viewers know, right, Teddy?
Oh, I'm going to let them know.
You're going to let them know.
I'll let them know.
You're going to do like a Superman thing where you unwrap the scarf and you reveal your true colors.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for the viewers, it's a gingerbread. Hold on. Oh, wrong way.
Wrong way.
Oh, I got to
just pull it down.
Oh, yeah. Wow, what am I doing? Just really quick. It says, oh, snap.
Superman.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. That's hilarious.
His little leg snapped. Oh, I got to do this again.
Just lift up your computer.
Okay.
ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7 and on QSportsTalk.com. This hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. Guys, there's 5 games left in the regular season. The NFL playoff picture is taking shape. How do we feel about it? Who do you have coming out of the NFC and AFC?
Yeah, I mean, I think the clear favorite out of the NFC is definitely Detroit, but we're seeing Philly back to their winning ways. There was a little bit of a concern at the beginning of the season, but after 8 straight, they're flying high. In terms of the other divisions, those are kind of up for grabs. Even the division, the NFC West, Seattle's on top at 7-5, and they're playing better ball.
Heck
but yeah, which is upsetting because I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan. I was feeling really good 2 weeks ago at 6-4.
Teddy and I are enemies now for this weekend specifically.
Yes, and she was texting me some dirt over
on the
2
plane
weeks
ride
ago.
home.
Yep. It's okay because Arizona, in our wins we run the ball very well, but we just could not get the run game going, and with that, teams load up the box on the pass and get to Kyler Murray. So anyway, Seattle, hopefully they don't stay in that spot. But Arizona, we have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way, so we should be good. But we needed that game against Minnesota last week. That was a heartbreaker. So that hurts our chances. And then Atlanta's kind of slipping. And Tampa Bay, now with Mike Evans back, has a chance to get over the top with them. It's not good for Tampa Bay, though, that Atlanta beat them twice in the season. So Atlanta still holds that tiebreaker. But, at least out of the NFC, that's what I got. What about you, Cedric?
I'm feeling good about my Philadelphia Eagles right now. As you said, 8 straight games, and they played a team in Baltimore last week where from the second quarter on, they pretty much dominated. Mm-hmm. This is a team where matchup-wise, I think it was the best matchup game of the season because quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Does it get any better than that? Maybe besides, with the exception of Allen versus Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, Saquon Barkley versus Derrick Henry, the 2 leading rushers in the NFL. Look at the Eagles, the second and third rushing touchdown leaders on the season. Yeah. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, 23 combined touchdowns.
I know. That was a wonderful game. Eagles, man, they're really impressive this year. Just Saquon doing Saquon things. And their defense has really been picking up, too. When the Ravens had chances to score, the Eagles neutralized them and just couldn't really get anything going. So really, really big performance by the Eagles there.
Well, I'd like to point out Cedric is really excited about the Eagles because he actually has an eagle on his shirt right now. So he's standing behind their potential NFC appearance. So
not exactly an Eagles jersey, but an American Eagles shirt.
Yeah, it's close
provides
enough.
A little bit of symbolism there.
Yeah, We'll definitely take it. Well, for the AFC, especially for the West, everyone kind of knows it's going to be the Chiefs. And as excited I was when they did take that one loss earlier in the season, they just keep steamrolling ahead. There's really, they haven't lost. And according to the NBC calculator, CBS calculator, that's all the computer cares about. So, you're going to see them again. And I really do think we might see another Chiefs-Bills championship game. We'll see how that goes. I really do need the Bills to pull out. I mean, Josh Allen was a menace last weekend. He absolutely performed that one rushing touchdown that he had where he's leaning his whole body out, getting just past the end zone. He played fantastic, and it's great to see that, but, the Chiefs are just definitely going to probably be in the AFC Championship once again.
Let me say this, though, really quickly about the Chiefs. Yes, they're 11-1. The record shows their dominance, but they have not been playing like an 11-1
It's been very close, yes.
Very close. The Raiders, Raiders should have beaten them if it wasn't for the bad coaching decisions at the end of the game. The Panthers were also extremely close to winning, but Chiefs just were able to pull that one out. And then if it wasn't for that blocked field goal against Denver, and the tippy toes in the Ravens game, the first game, you can even make an argument against the Bengals that the Bengals had a shot. So this team could very well be 8-5, 7-6. And so I think when they get later into the playoffs and they play really good defensive teams like the Steelers, I think the Steelers do have a chance to pull that game out as long as they can stop Mahomes, and I think they can. The Ravens, when they played the Chiefs last year, they just lost their identity and stopped running the ball. If they run the ball in the playoffs this year against the Chiefs and just run it down their throat, I think they also have a good chance. And maybe one of those two teams ends up playing the Bills. I think the Bills are the clear-cut favorite in the AFC for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kansas City has looked mortal this year, but you know what? They looked mortal last year too.
That's true.
And then they just turn it on in the playoffs. I mean, they're the current iteration of what the Patriots were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago when New England was dominating the AFC. Even that year, New England went 11-5, but experience matters. These players know the stakes in the playoffs, and I think that they rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that. That's what great teams do. Kansas City is a great team. Do they look mortal? Absolutely. Do I think Buffalo can beat them? Absolutely. But Josh Allen is 0 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, so he's still got something to prove. Same with Lamar.
Yeah. And especially with the Lions, I mean, let's jump to the NFC. Like you were saying, they're on a bit of a hot streak, but, going back in time a little bit, they almost did drop a game against the Chicago Bears. And if it wasn't for the poor clock time management there, the Lions may have added their second loss of the season or have had to go to overtime and waste more energy playing against the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving. So I really do think it's kind of nice to see that, the next 3 options for the NFC playoffs are birds. Love to see that the Eagles, Seahawks, and Falcons are all on there. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be playing like the Lions are mortal, just like we were saying with the Chiefs, and it's if these teams can rise to the occasion, play their best game, stop the run early and make the correct defensive plays when necessary, but also, not pulling a Seattle Seahawks and hoping that the refs bail you out on a couple of flags here and there like they did against the Jets, and really play your best game possible. Like, don't wait until the last minute to come up against these teams, because the Chiefs will take advantage. They've pulled away in the last couple minutes of every single game. If you can establish that lead early, you should be fine against them. But we'll have to see. Playoff season's always the best season. So.
Yeah, and what about the NFC North this year? Really just blowing everybody's mind with the really 3 of the best teams in the NFC in there. Oh, well, the exception of the Eagles not being in there. But, Minnesota surprising everybody. Green Bay bouncing back from a rough start at the beginning, not knowing how their season was going to go without Jordan Love for the first few games. But then, they're doing great with the addition of Josh Jacobs, really establishing that run. They don't even have A.J. Dillon back in full form yet. So I really think that Green Bay is personally the dark horse of the NFC. Minnesota could be too, but they have a history of slipping in the playoffs. And they have Sam Darnold, who doesn't necessarily have that experience. Jordan Love doesn't have a lot of experience either, but I think he's in a system that'll work better for him down the line. So I'm just saying, watch out for the NFC North in these playoffs.
No, I definitely agree with you, Teddy. The fact that 9-3 Green Bay is 3rd place in their division, when that would be good for first place in almost all the other divisions in the NFL, is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is the first time since 1935 that at this point in the season, this juncture, 3 teams have 9 wins or more.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I will say, as much as I want Arizona in the playoffs, they would end up at that 3 spot. We'd probably end up playing Green Bay, and I would not want to play Green Bay in the playoffs.
Brooke, do you have a dark horse coming out of the NFC or the AFC, or you just don't see those favorites being upset?
It's definitely going to be a test. Like always, Seattle being the NFC West champion right now does surprise me with the way that they've been playing recently. I don't really see them holding much power over the top of the Lions and the Eagles, but it is nice to see that they will be in playoff contention. I do agree with the Packers. We kind of had that conversation at the beginning of the year. They're still feeling the loss of Rodgers. Could they really come back? And then they spring back from that, kind of inexciting start of the season, and they're starting to make those plays, they're starting to make those moves, and the fact that Teddy's scared of the Green Bay Packers right now in a playoff picture is telling, that kind of thing. And you saw the Vikings really pull out in front of the Cardinals last week. I feel like at least in the NFC, it's a wide variety of teams because, like I said earlier, the Lions almost lost to the Chicago Bears. So I feel like it's not as dominant as the Bills are in the AFC right now. So it's kind of exciting to see. Multiple teams can probably make a stand and prove themselves in this next playoff picture.
Yeah, and I'm going to just throw a curveball in here because I'm looking at the AFC standings. One team that I think is surprising everybody, even though they did upgrade their coach, is the Chargers. They're not going to win their division, but they're, right there at number 5 in the AFC playoff picture. And if the playoffs started today, they face a weaker Houston Texans team. Not that the Houston Texans aren't good, but they're a little hurt with Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins just came back. So, what are your thoughts on the Chargers this year? Because I'm not hearing many people talk about them, but they're playing pretty good football. They've won, I believe, 5 out of the last 6. So, what are you guys' thoughts?
My thinking is that the Chiefs have to watch out for the other teams in their division, because I think not just the Chargers, but the Denver Broncos are also a dark horse. I know that they gave up almost 40 points to Jameis Winston, a few days ago, but that's besides the point. This is both teams are well coached, and I think that both teams are capable of pulling off upsets if they get that matchup against their division rivals in Kansas City. Yeah,
and defense wins championships. As good as an offense can be, defense wins championships. That's even why the Chiefs were able to win last year, because their defense rose to the occasion also. And a team like the Denver Broncos, they are one of the top defenses in the league. That game against the Browns, their defense really came in the clutch, having 2 pick sixes against Jameis Winston, and really sealed the deal in that game. So as long as Bo Nix protects the ball, doesn't turn it over, and just doesn't make those big mistakes on offense, look out for the Broncos too. They're a scary team to watch.
Yeah, and for tonight's Thursday night football matchup, the Packers and the Lions are going head-to-head in Detroit. I read something recently that the Lions are suffering well over 20 people on the injured reserve right now, and that could definitely be, kind of a shifting factor. We see a strong defensive and offensive core, but if you've dropped almost half of your active roster, what do you think is going to happen to them?
Well, like I said before, I think Green Bay's really on a roll. So are the Lions, but if there's a game that the Lions have, or I wouldn't say have to, but are gonna lose, but before the season ends, it's probably this game. They barely just made it by the Bears, which, they were beating the Bears handedly, and then the Bears started to come back.
Yep.
I think Green Bay's gonna pull this one out. I think Green Bay really wants to make a statement and say, okay, the Lions are here, but so are we. So I think Green Bay's going to pull out this game.
I believe in Dan Campbell. I believe that.
I love Dan Campbell.
I do too.
I believe that this team is going to get the job done tonight on Thursday night. Green Bay is a really good team.
Yeah.
I think they're capable of beating everybody in the NFC with the exception of the teams at the top, Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. I think that they can beat everyone except those two teams. I just don't see it. I think Detroit still pulls out a close game here. I think Jordan Love plays better than their game earlier in the year, which the Lions won by double digits, but in Lambeau, by the way. But we'll see. The Packers still have a little bit more to prove to me, but I do believe they have their quarterback. Going from Favre to Rodgers to Love is just credit to the Packers organization, really. What else can you say?
Yeah, I know.
Yep. So after this short 4-minute break, we'll be back with NBA and NHL talk. You are listening to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7. Watch us on Twitch at qsportstalk.com.
The 3-1-5.
Oh, I thought it was pulled up right there. I was so excited.
I know. I can't get into my Twitch account. It's not letting me. And I just I don't have my phone over here. I left it over there.
Here, do you want one?
Oh, to go on Twitch?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not even that. Like, are you talking about logging into mine on here?
Oh, I just meant, can we just pull up the Twitch stream at all, or no?
Oh, we should be able to. Let me try it on here then.
Yeah, try that. I was getting a lot of those advertisements, though. It was kind of weird.
Since 1972.
Jordan, do we have any more comments? Don't worry. Let the viewers know we're coming back in D block.
Well, we got 12 of you here with us right now. What are your thoughts on Syracuse for a bowl game? You think we're going to get an SEC team? Do you think we'll get Colorado? Also, New York team, the Buffalo Bills. What are you thinking about their playoff hopes this year? Do you really think they're going to get by the Chiefs?
My family just said that there's no chat. There's no or chat questions in the oh wait, no, he was just telling me there's no chat questions in the Twitch. I thought he was trying to say something was wrong and you couldn't type anything in.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was trying to say something was wrong and you couldn't type anything in.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either.
Well,
so
good show then. It means we're.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either. Well, so.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. It might be me. There we go.
I'm going to start with the
Yeah, please.
just because I don't have a lot to say.
Yeah, totally.
Islanders are bad right now. But the Kraken play the Islanders tonight. So very excited about that matchup. Are any of your guys' classes canceled for this winter storm that's not even happening?
No,
I see blue sky right now.
I had one class today.
That's nice.
Yeah, one class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Next semester it's 2.
Gotcha. Oh no, just 2 classes.
Yeah, right.
Oh
yeah.
no.
No.
I'll let you guys take the NBA stuff.
Sure.
I'm not really. And I'll go to ham on NHL. Got emails.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Tommy, when are those coming?
I was just creating it. I'd say call it back. Put your name.
Yo, that's crazy. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Alrighty. But not Jordan, Cedric. How you feeling about the NBA Cup?
Feeling all right, man. I think it'll be exciting.
It's just funny that like the Celtics nor the Cavs are in the NBA Cup. Like that's crazy.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7 and on QSportsTalk.com. We have Brooke Kilgore here with the latest on the local Syracuse Crunch. Brooke?
Hey guys, so want to talk about them super quick. They fell 3-2 with the Laval Rockets last night in overtime. They have gone 2-1 in overtime this season, and it feels like every game that I'm down there at, they go to overtime. So they've been giving their fans a lot of extra time for the buck that they put down. So that's great to see. Derek Pouliot, who leads the Crunch with 2 goals in that game. Connor Sherry contributed a multi-point game, 2 assists. We've got a lot of great breakout rookies. Crunch goaltender Brandon Halverson, he's been fantastic. 3 career shutouts so far. He stopped 38 of 41, and sometimes some get past you. So in the end, he did hold his own for as long as he could. Syracuse was very present on the ice. They stole the lead stole the lead, found the second power play goal with Pouliot there, and Sherry fed Pouliot for that second, that one-timer off the top of the right circle. So really cool to see them coming to play. They're at Cleveland, taking on the Cleveland Monsters, starting on Friday. So you can also catch that here on ESPN Syracuse Radio. They are also the host for the Syracuse Crunch. Turning the tide, though, Four Nation Face-Off is coming to town very soon. Not coming to town here, it is in Canada, but they just announced the USA lineup as well as the Finland, Sweden, and Canada rosters as well. The Rangers have at least 5 guys going, Chris Kreider and Adam Fox for Team USA there. Buffalo's got their goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for Finland, and those are kind of the only New York players, 2 for Buffalo, 5 for the Rangers that really made an appearance. No one from the Islanders, which was a little surprising to see. But then again, their season's not getting off to a really great start.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah,
a little disappointing to see that there, but hey, they're doing what they can. The Islanders are currently 9-10-1, and they take on the Seattle Kraken tonight. If you don't know, I'm a big Seattle Kraken fan, hoping Joey Decord makes his presence in the net again tonight. Hopefully, we'll see some stuff happening there. But going back to Chris Kreider, since 2010, 836 games played, 314, goals. 836 games played, 314 goals. That's 562 points. Since 2012, he had a 52 goal campaign in his rookie season. 2014 Stanley Cup final appearance in that 2018 rebuilding season for the Rangers, which was very pivotal to putting them where they are. There's been some trade rumors for the 33-year-old, which has also been surprising because, there's been some, slow start. He's getting up there. He's 33 years old. You see some players start to slow down, but he's come back since then. So a lot of people are a little confused as to why there's all these trade rumors surrounding him on the Rangers, but
So where do you think he's going to go if they're going to trade him from the Rangers? What team do you think needs him? What team do you think wants him?
That's a great question. I mean, I honestly can't say at the moment, just because we're still kind of in the kerfuffle. Teams are still trying to figure out what works for them. Like, I can talk especially for the Seattle Kraken. We had Philip Gruber in net against the Sharks. That fell apart, and Joey DeCourt's starting goaltender. So I think it's going to take a little bit more later on into the season to see where he may be needed, but I think he's going to stay, especially earning that Four Nations spot on Team USA. I don't think the Rangers really are going to trade him, but again, that always happens, and it could be a team that we're least expecting. So hopefully seeing there, he could go to a higher team if they offer them some draft picks or anything like that, but for now, I think he is going to stay. The defenseman Adam Fox, he's also on Team USA alongside Kreider. He's on track to break Jimmy Thompson's single-season assist record from 1947.
Wow.
76 years ago that record has been held. That's 29 assists that Thompson had. Fox is 20 so far in just 24 games played. So
Wow.
he's on track to go break records, and hope, and we still got half a season left to go. So,
Yeah.
we'll see if that happens. 76 years is a long time to be holding on to a record. It's also the NHL record as well, not just like the Rangers. Thompson did play for the Maple Leafs. So we're going to see how that goes. But Kraken face off versus the Islanders tonight. I believe that's at 7:30. The Jets and the Sabres square off 7 p.m. as well. And that's about it for your Syracuse hockey update. So.
Yeah, well, you said Chris Kreider, right, is the
Yes.
player on the trade block. Well, I'm just looking at the Eastern Conference standings for NHL, and it looks like they would definitely need him to stay because
Yes,
they're floating in the
definitely.
wild card picture. If they want to keep their postseason chances alive, they're going to need him because it sounds like he is a big part of their postseason hopes. So that's all I have to say about that for now.
Definitely no. So, Cedric Teddy, I know you guys got some NBA to talk about.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So one thing that's new in the NBA, as I'm sure many of you know that are listening, is this NBA Cup business during the middle of the season. It's basically a tournament that they have during the middle of the season. And I think it's really interesting. One thing I noticed, Cedric, is that the two top teams in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers at 19-3, the Boston Celtics at 18, the defending champion Boston Celtics at 18-4, they're not in the NBA Cup on the East side. It's the Bucks, the Knicks, the Hawks, and the Magic on that side. And then on the West side, the Thunder, Rockets, Warriors, and Mavericks, with the Rockets at the 2 seed, not only in the tournament, but in the Western Conference. So just what are your thoughts about the NBA Cup and about the NBA standings thus far? We're about a quarter of the way into the season.
I really like the idea. I was a fan when the NBA introduced the in-season tournament. I was a fan years ago when they introduced the play-in. I think it adds a lot more excitement to the regular season, and I think this is a trial run for Vegas. I do think that the NBA eventually expands into Vegas. They're proving that the NBA can draw successful crowds in Vegas, so I think this is what it's all about. And you know what? I personally would like to see the stakes increased. Maybe have in future years the winner of this NBA Cup have a guaranteed playoff spot.
That'd be interesting.
Have real stakes on the line. How about that?
Yeah, that would be very interesting, especially if the team maybe starts to slip later in the year, they're just. Yeah, I just think that's really interesting, like just guaranteeing them a playoff spot. I wanted to touch on the thing you said about Vegas, them possibly expanding into a new team there. We were talking about this before the show, that if Vegas gets a new team, they're talking about bringing back another team to help with the expansion. And rumors are swirling about the Seattle Supersonics possibly making a return. Is that what you're hearing too, Cedric, or is that just?
I think it's possible. I think there's a group. I think there's a group that's being put together for that to be in place. Whether or not we see that in the next few seasons, I'm not gonna go on the record and say that that's definitive.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see that happening. I think there's a good chance of it.
Yeah, I haven't read any official report on that either, so just want to get that out there. But I know that when Oklahoma City became a franchise and they moved out of Seattle, people were kind of bummed. Like Seattle, the Supersonics, they've been around for a while. I believe they have one championship under their belt, so there is some history there, and maybe they want to just continue that legacy. So personally, if they put a team in Vegas, I would be in support of it. So anyways, but looking to the NBA Cup, the New York Knicks, they were having a rough start to the season, but they've been bouncing back. I believe they've won 5 out of their last 7 games. So actually 8 out of their last 10 games. Wow. So I think they're in a good spot in this cup, especially without the 2 top teams there, Boston and Cleveland. Personally, I think out of the East, I do like the Knicks coming out of the East for the NBA Cup, honestly, because the Bucks are streaking, but I think this is the Knicks' chance to make a statement and say, like, okay, now we're gelling, we're really figuring this thing out. On the West side, how do you feel? What do you think is going to be coming out of the West for the Cup?
I really like the Thunder here.
Yeah,
I do. I know it's the cliche pick because they're the number 1 seed coming into this thing, and they're the number 1 seed in general in the Western Conference standings. But I think they're playing really good ball right now.
Yeah.
And I think the Mavericks still have something to figure out. I still don't. They're kind of in a spot where there may or may not be buyer's remorse with Klay Thompson. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But give me the Thunder though to come out of the West for sure.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And they're playing good ball without Chet Holmgren, too.
Right.
Because that was a big loss that they had, and they're still keeping up that success. So, that's a really good sign for the Thunder if they can play good ball without him. So, and Hartenstein's been picking it up. He's averaging a double-double every game, pretty much.
That was a great
points,
signing for them. And I think New York fans know very well what they lost with Hartenstein.
Yeah, that is a big signing for them. I do agree. I think it's going to be Knicks Thunder, and if that were the matchup, how do you feel? You think the Thunder are going to carry that one out as well?
I do. Give me OKC.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a big loss for the Knicks with Hartenstein. If they do play in the NBA Cup final, it'll be Hartenstein playing against his old team. That'll be really interesting to watch. So with that, but what are your thoughts now just on the entire season in general? I mean, we're about a quarter of the way in. Is there like any surprise teams that you've seen in the NBA that you're thinking like, oh, this team could make a deeper postseason push than we thought?
Well,
obviously,
who expected the Cavs?
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Who expected the Cavs to be 19-3, 22 games in? I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether Donovan Mitchell even wanted to resign with this team. And, the Cavaliers were down double digits when they played the Celtics in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And, they found a way to win. I think whether or not that translates to postseason success, it's too early for me. I still think Boston is the team to beat.
Yeah.
But Cleveland is really good. They have a really good coach with Kenny Atkinson. As a former Brooklyn Nets fan, I know what Atkinson is capable of as head coach.
Yeah.
I thought the Nets should have never let him go, but...
Right. I mean, Cleveland is playing good ball. Hopefully they keep it up. They're leading the league in points per game. They're leading the league in field goal percentage. They have 6 guys scoring in double digits every night. And, it's exciting ball to watch them play right now. So, we will come back with more after the break. We will be looking at SU men's and women's basketball and also wrapping up with a college football playoff prediction.
So you're listening to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7. Watch us on Twitch at qsportstalk.com.
Saturday.
That's an interesting idea.
NBA should make their regular season into series like baseball.
Where they play the same team multiple times in one weekend, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they already do that sometimes with teams playing back-to-backs against each other.
Mm-hmm. I did see that, yeah.
But
they'll stay on the same
not a
coast,
series, not 3 in a row against each other. So that would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Because I know that, with baseball, the games are like day after day after day. They're like back-to-back-to-back days. So that makes sense why the series. But in the NBA, they do have back-to-back day games sometimes, but they're a little bit more spread out. So
in baseball, you've got like 10 relief pitchers that you can throw in if your main guy's tired. Hockey and basketball, you've got your starting 5 that you really rely on, and your goaltender's really the only one that you can put in and switch out. So
yeah,
I don't know.
No, for sure. It's just like because there's like bigger gaps in the schedule for NBA, like if you did that, you'd have to basically commit your team in a city for like the week. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. I think that would be maybe something to try. But But yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be interesting. I wonder if the NBA players would want to do that, though.
Or keep them in like the same coast or same region at least for maybe a weekend, and don't have them travel from like Toronto to like Las Vegas to like, you know, Florida or something like that. Like maybe keep them all in the same area. If you're going to go to Canada, do like a Canada series maybe where you have 2 weeks and you just play all the Canadian teams, and then you come back and you have like a West Coast series and you go play all the teams on the West Coast. Something like that. It could be interesting. But yeah, back to back to back to back might be a little brutal for NHL and basketball players.
Yeah, and I know they're not doing series right now in NBA, but I am looking at, like, just we were talking about the Cavs, I'm looking at their schedule. They have like a whole slew of games coming up that are East Coast, and then a whole slew of games on the West Coast. And then it kind of bounces around a little bit, but they kind of do that. They are keeping the teams on one coast for a while, then pushing them to the next coast. So they're not like, oh, I got one game here and then the next game's here and there and everywhere. Yeah.
ACC kind of vibes right now. We're traveling coast to coast.
For sure.
I don't think we're going to have enough time for the college football playoffs because we're going to come back.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
basketball is good to end off on.
Yeah, by the way, we're only going to have about 2.5 minutes, so
Women's basketball.
If you have a point, say your best point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think women's basketball is the main one because it happened last night.
Yep.
So I just want to talk about Burroughs and Georgia Woolley not doing very good.
Yeah.
So you'd rather talk about the women?
I think so.
Okay, so I'll just say something quick about the men's basketball. We'll get your point in about the women, Teddy, if you have a comment, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Again, I can't stress that enough. 2.5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good.
Stretch or we'll wrap. Okay.
But technically the out is what, 55? The hard out is 55-20. Yeah. Okay.
That'd be funny though.
We'll try not to. So.
Jordan, thank you for the compelling case on Twitter. I appreciate it. You were compelled? Thank you. Also, Teddy, your scarf is just cracking me up right now.
The scarf, let's go.
Oh, man.
The scarf does hit hard. Dude.
We did talk about doing holiday sweaters.
Exactly, and I came prepared, so. But no, I've been rocking this scarf.
Broadcasting stars
I've been
today.
rocking it all week.
Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7 and on QSportsTalk.com. We're going to end the show here with a little bit of SU basketball. Brooke, I know you have something to say about the women.
Yeah, so Syracuse women's basketball, SEC, ACC challenge. They dropped their 5th loss to Texas A&M last night. They were ending that first quarter 15-10, and the leads just kept changing. But Texas A&M, the last 10 minutes of the game, they held SU scoreless. And if I remember correctly, for the last 5 minutes, Felicia Leggett-Jack did not call a single timeout. Georgia Woolley goes 3 for 17 from the field, and Burroughs goes 0 for 9 from the paint and 0 for 5 from beyond the arc. It's crazy to just kind of see the turnaround of this team, and they're going up against Notre Dame, who's averaging 85 points per game on Sunday. So that matchup's going to be a little, we're going to see if Syracuse can really bounce back from that, or maybe this is truly a rebuilding year for them.
Meanwhile, on the men's side, obviously against number 3 Tennessee, Syracuse drops that game by 26 points. Concerning for Coach Adrian Autry in the presser afterwards, saying that he played Jaquan Carlos 37 minutes because he doesn't feel like this team has enough ball handlers. Teddy, how do we feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, they were without J.J. Starling in this game as well, and he's obviously probably the best ball handler on that team. But I think it just comes back to defense. We allowed a lot of offensive rebounds, 13 offensive rebounds against Tennessee, and that's usually not going to win you games. We got out-rebounded 40-26, and the defense has been an issue, according to Coach Autry, so we got to step it up on that side of the ball.
So we are only 20 days from Christmas, guys. If you had to pick here, we're going to do Cole or gifts for the men's and women's basketball really quick, guys. If you had to give women's and men's basketball Cole or gifts this holiday season, how would you go? Are they on the naughty or nice list?
I love Felicia, so I want to give her all the gifts because I know she's working hard. I know they're trying to make a change, and they're really kind of trying to find that path without Deasia Fair this season. But it's looking like Cole. You're going 4-5 so far this season. Your opponents are only going to get tougher as you go on into conference play. I don't think they're expecting gifts this Christmas.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm giving Syracuse men's basketball Cole. Just because you only beat Lemoyne by 4, Colgate by 2. Youngstown State, you went into overtime.
Double overtime.
Thank you. Double overtime. And, my alma mater, St. Bonaventure University, for my undergrad, they beat Lemoyne by nearly 20 points. So, and Bonaventure's doing pretty well this year, but, again, it just shows Syracuse, they got to step it up.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Newhouse Afternoon. You won't be hearing us for a little while. It's our last show of the year.